Now, from WBZ Sports, this is Burton Ernie Talk Football with Fauria.
I love it. Welcome, everyone, to Burton Ernie Talk Football with Fauria. I'm Steve Burton, and we got a big win to talk about this week. Ernie Adams, along with Christian Fauria here, big-time win. They got it done, and they got it done in a big way. But I got to go to that special teams play right out of the gate. Marcus Jones taking it to the house.
Well, before we go there, I just want to say tomorrow's the 1st of October.
Yep.
So preseason is now over.
Officially.
We talked about September being, a preseason, which in a lot of ways it's been. I think now, teams are ready to start playing, and of course that leads, to the big game the Patriots have Sunday in Buffalo, Sunday night.
They all count, Ernie, but I understand what you're saying.
Well,
now it's for real.
Well, when you look at your schedule, the biggest games are always the division games on the road. That's a huge.
That's true.
That is.
Yeah. And obviously one thing that should travel, which should be special teams. The kicking game, especially in a place like Buffalo and that stadium where the wind goes crazy, you never know what you're going to get. But that Marcus Jones punt return, really, both of them I thought were just fantastic. I thought it was came at a time when they really needed it, and it's been such a weapon for them. And they've been able to capitalize it even since the preseason with Travion Henderson. With his first time he touched the ball, he ran it back kickoff return for a touchdown.
He had one for 61 yards. He had one for 87 yards that took it to the house, and one for 61 yards. He almost took that one to the house as well.
Yep, and it's a lot of people have always said the great punt return is the most exciting play in football. It's out there in the open. It's space. It's a little bit like watching them come down. On a power play in hockey. I mean, it's very fluid. And it can change the momentum of the game, like that.
Special teams for the Patriots have been pretty special so far, especially in the last game.
Yes, it is. It's been special for the Patriots. It's been special just league wide when you really look at some of the numbers that some of these teams are putting up. And I think it has a lot to do with just the rules and the way they do things. And
Look at the punt return numbers.
These are the numbers league-wide, right? So 6 punt return touchdowns through week 4. That's the most since 2015. 3 punt return touchdowns in week 4, most in a single week since 2019. I'm trying to figure out why, right? It can't be just because of nobody's practicing. Here's more stats and figures. Yeah. This is a trend that's going on through the NFL
Special teams impact through week 4, right? 16 block kicks.
16 block kicks, and you've had the last 2 weeks, 2 games which have been decided on the last play of the game by a blocked field goal. So people say, well, why are special teams important? Because that's how you can win or lose football games. Every team in the league is going to have 3 to 4 games that will be decided by special teams over the course of a season. So which can be the difference between a so-so season and a really good season.
Look at the average field goal made, 40.4 yards. Longest average since at least 1991, Ernie.
Well, that's why you remember the Sunday night game we played against the Ravens about 15 years ago, the last play of the game. We had the lingerie referees. Was the kick
good?
The
lingerie.
Well, that's
remember that reference.
Was the kick and that's why we really pushed to get the goalposts raised, because these kickers now, they're all playing soccer.
Yeah, that was a Belichick thing, right? Get the goalposts raised, right?
And really, we wanted to raise it 5 feet higher, and they did an engineering study and said that would actually make the goalposts too unstable. So we got it up there as high as we could. But the kickers now are so much better than they used to be. If you had, back in when your dad was playing, if you're a 60% field goal kicker, you were really good. Mm-hmm. If you're a 60% field goal kicker now, you couldn't kick for a high school team.
You know what I would do now? Here's what I would do now, since the kickers are becoming I'm happy that they're part of the game, but I don't want them too much part of the game, okay? I would narrow those goalposts to the practice goalpost. I would narrow them down, and so therefore it just be harder. Right? That's just my initial suggestion.
I will tell you that one of the things that and I will take some credit for was this whole thing with moving the PAT when you kicked and putting the ball on the 15, because the commissioner was very clear. He said he didn't want it to be automatic. We want it to be high percentage, but not automatic.
Yeah.
So we figured out, okay, well, in the mid-70s, PATs were about 95%. if we moved it back to the 15, that's where about the field goes with 95%. That's why we did it. So it's a high percentage, but it's not just a mulligan, and you have to think twice before you go to the refrigerator on a PAT.
That's the most important point.
There you go. That's a great point.
TV ratings, right? Get people watching the game.
Hey, I'll tell you the ratings are going up because Drake May's playing well. Drake May. Let's talk about Drake for a second because he spread the ball around, had some weapons, Stephon Diggs as well, but he was able to spread the ball around and they protected him. We'll talk about that later on, but just talk about Drake.
Listen, the passing game starts with protection. I don't care who you got a quarterback, who you got a receiver. If you don't have pass protection,
we're going to have a whiteboard segment on that.
Right, we are going to, and that's been evidenced by what's happened to the Patriots the last couple of years when it was a disaster. I think the fact that they can go out and nobody's talking about the offensive line because they're basically just doing a good job.
Well, you're going to be talking about it.
We are going to.
We've been talking about this for the past couple of weeks, Steve and I, during the postgame show. It's a good thing if you're not talking about the offensive line. It's probably because they're doing a good job. When you're talking about it, it's because somebody whiffs on a block, they do a lookout block. But to Drake May, when you look at the stats over the first 4 games of the season, he's got one of the highest, if not the highest, completion percentages in the NFL. His quarterback rating is way up there with all the top-notch quarterbacks, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, all the ones, Lamar Jackson, all the ones that you're going to sit there and say these guys are all pro-type guys. Drake May's right there with them, Steve.
All right, well, it's going to be interesting to see. We got a couple whiteboard segments coming
Whiteboard
up.
session.
All right, we're going to take a break. Indeed, we are. But coming up, we have a whiteboard segment on the Patriots punt return. Yeah, Coach Ernie is going to break it all down because it was successful. Gotta love these special teams. Talk about Marcus Jones getting it done. You're watching Burton Ernie talk football with Fauria. We'll be right back at you. Welcome back to Burton Ernie Talk Football with Fauria. We're talking punt returns, Ernie. Take a look, and we're talking Marcus Jones taking it 87 yards to the house.
Oh.
How did it happen?
Well, the first thing was you got to understand the way you approach punt returns and the situation. So on the first one, Carolina had the ball. It was about 4th and 8 on the Patriots side of the 50. So this being the modern NFL, you have to be a little bit concerned if you're on defense. Are they going to go for it? Are they going to try something? So they put out what Coach Vrabel called in his post-game conference the gray team.
The gray team.
The gray team. So you've got 4 defensive linemen in there. You've got basically big guys in there. You're going to have single corners out on the gunners. And the big thing you want here from your returner in this situation is to have good judgment how to field the ball back close to his own end line. And this first one was really just a great individual effort by Marcus Jones because when he caught the ball, there were 2 coverage people, the gunner and somebody from inside, were right like you guys are. They were right in his face. And you always say, well, you're going to have to make the first guy miss. He had 2 guys to make miss. He started over to this side. He came back. He beat the tackle by the first gunner. Yeah. He went a little further, and he beat the tackle by the second gunner. And then the contained man fell down trying to play the block, and he was gone.
Well, and they all bottlenecked at the end. And it was like that's like the cardinal rule of sin on punt coverage is everyone's got to stay in their lanes.
Right. Well, we're going to talk next week, don'ts of the kicking game. One of the don'ts of the kicking game, don't follow your own color downfield.
Yeah.
Used to, you love it.
So, it's a good coaching point.
So let me ask you one question.
Yes.
Short field, right? Why did Marcus Jones do this? Fair catch, right? I'm glad he didn't.
Well,
but when you got a short field, you got guys coming down.
Well, this is where you're putting everything. This is his judgment.
Okay.
I mean, there's really no. I mean, he's got to be aware of where the ball is, have some sense of what's going on. I mean, you have to be a little bit crazy to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, you really do.
Which is why Wes Walker wanted out.
It is a little similar to playing like chicken.
Totally.
Yeah.
Hey, this is
no fair dodging.
No fair dodging. These people are spread out. They're coming full speed, and particularly now, because they got 4 defensive linemen in there who basically are useless on a punt return. They can't run with these covers. So basically, in this situation, this returner is out there by himself.
He's on the island.
And I don't think a lot of people understand the difference because it's almost like the starting defensive linemen are just in there. They stay. If you're on the punt team, they're really no threat. You know they're not going to run down. and as long as you can block them initially, you're good. But for him, it's even I would say scarier because they're freely releasing.
See, well, the one thing you got to understand about
what happened.
Okay, so the rules on the punt team: the only two people who can go downfield before the ball is kicked are the two gunners.
Okay.
So these people, and the gunners. This is the Wild West out here.
So these guys got to stay here.
They have got to stay there until the ball is kicked.
Okay.
So
then what happens?
And then what happens? Basically they're all gonna block, and then they will fan out. So, and most of the time, it's your slot is going to have to come out and be the contained man. The gunner is going to come try to force the returner, and you'll have somebody contained. Well, so what happened here? You've got this gunner, and one of the other coverage guys was right in his face. He made this gunner miss. He made that gunner miss, and then the contained man was coming in to play the block and basically went to the ground, and there he goes.
87 yards to the house.
So this is kind of amazing because you really aren't setting this up for a great return.
Yeah, so this is why this is actually more impressive than the other one.
Because then what happened, and I remember, this is about 4th and 8 when the Panthers were on the Patriots side of the field. The second one, where he didn't quite make it to the house, but they really could get the return set up.
The kicker got him. The punter got him.
Well,
Right?
he tripped him up just enough.
But Carolina had it was like fourth and about 13, and they were back in their own 20. You're not that worried about them going for it in that situation. So what they could do here was, first of all, they could double both the gunners, so you got two people on them to try to not let him off, and over
those
here,
guys are coming out of there then.
And right, and so you're going to take your these are players in here, but they're your
now they're your linebackers, your tight ends, your guys that are big.
So it's a different group of players.
Yeah. Right, and this is Gibbons, Mapu, Duggar, Austin, and these guys can run.
Yeah.
They can get, and so what happened on this one was, particularly over here on this side, you get the gunner walled, and when Marcus caught the ball in that second part, he had about 10 yards of separation between anybody on the offense coming down.
So before the first one, everybody was in his face.
This time he had some separation, and what made the play great
was what?
Was he caught the ball 2 quick steps this way, which got the coverage people who are coming down here
over pursuing.
He got them all to make a move this way, and then he came coast to coast because he caught the outside the right numbers. He went laterally about 40 yards this way before he turned up. And then these guys did some great jobs blocking here because now the special teams players, they could run with these coverage people. And, with the new rules, it used to be, Steve, when you were playing, you could just light somebody up on a block.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore with blindside blocks. So you saw them coming down, and they were just trying to shield them.
Shield.
But
they didn't hit anybody. They just shielded them.
They got in the way. So you got the gunners blocked, you got these guys shielded, and he's coming this way. And, you talk about second effort hustle play. So on the backside of your return, boy, I got my pens out.
I know.
So on the backside, this is Anthony Jennings. You always have somebody from the backside who's going to come, just in case the punter drops the ball, you're going to make sure it's punted. Okay? Well, so, of course, being a hustling player, he keeps coming all the way around here, and he gets one of the last blocks to let him go. So this is a team. This is set up for a return. You've got your fast guys in there, but it's understanding the situation. 4th and 13 when you got them backed up is not the same as 4th and 8 when they're on your side of the 50.
Ernie, we are set up for a break. Okay, we got to take a break.
After listening to me,
it was great.
You probably need a break.
We need a break. Okay. We'll be back more of the Whiteboard segment with Ernie and Christian right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back to our Whiteboard segment. We're talking protection for Drake May, Ernie, because Drake May threw 2 touchdown passes, ran for another. He had all day to throw the football, which was great, but the offensive line is getting it done.
Well,
and why?
The pass offense starts with protection. It's always protection first because, as we saw with the Patriots, the last couple of years, if it's a problem up there, the quarterback's not going to have time. He can't set his feet, and all kinds of bad things are going to happen. There were times I thought for Drake May Sunday, it was like going out for 7-on-7 when there's no rush.
No rush.
He had, and
they only had one sack the entire 3 games before they played the Patriots, so they're not very good at it.
Right. But the fact is that's if you've got that kind of time for your quarterback, everything, your completion percentage, yards per catch, everything is going to go way up.
So what's the line doing?
So what we're going to do here is, and this is, of course, this is Tuesday, so I was sure that at some point, probably this evening, the offensive coaches are going to sit down and have a protection meeting. Everything they're going to do is going to be to decide what kind of protections we're going to run. Are there any problems?
Against Buffalo.
It starts with personnel. Is there a player or players who are particular problems we can't afford to have them
Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver, right? So what we don't ever want. They may say we don't ever want to be in a situation where he's singled up. Okay, so for instance, if we'd always have every protection call that we make, and Patriots probably have, like every team, like 15 or 20 different protections, because some of them are play action, some of them you need to get the back going one way or the other.
Okay,
it's a fairly nuanced conversation. But for instance, do we always need to make sure we've got somebody double teamed? Because if we don't double team him, he's going to ruin the game for us.
How does the double team work?
So you'd always have your center would say slide to the right, taking the inside half of the defensive tackle. Now the guard could overset him a little bit to the outside. So we've got 2 people on him. Of course, the problem comes if you got 2 of these guys inside who are both really good. Then how are you going to handle it?
What is for a back? He obviously never wants to block a free pass at Oliver, right? That's somebody has screwed up. When a defensive tackle goes through the line and you see a back on him, what happens?
Well, so where that comes up is, and I've got drawn here the shotgun, but let's say, for instance, you have your quarterback under center. And if the defense walks a linebacker up now into the A gap, and the A gap is what we call the guard between the center and the guard.
Yep.
It's A, B, C. So if somebody says B gap, everybody in football knows you're talking about between the guard and the tackle. If the quarterback is under center, and you have to get this, and they're coming through the A gaps, you got to get him blocked or he'll get to the quarterback before the back can get there. And that's when you get into what we call gap rules. When the quarterback's under center, and depending on if the center's going this way, then the left guard has to come down and block that linebacker, and now the back is going to end up on the tackle.
Which is a problem.
Which is why a lot of people, right, if you're throwing from shotgun and the quarterback's getting the snap back 5 yards deep, now you don't have to gap rule it because
the back can get to
your
the
back
backer.
can step up and
So
block
here's a
it.
question I have, and we're running out of time here, but the O-line, is it protecting an area or is it actually blocking a person?
When you're pass blocking, you have to know where the quarterback is trying to set up.
Okay.
He's got his spot. It's 7 yards deep, right behind the center. If the quarterback is over here, that's the quarterback's issue. The line is counting on the quarterback being where he's supposed to be, because pass protection is always inside out.
Inside out.
For instance,
okay.
if I'm blocking Christian and the quarterback's back here, I could never let him get the straight line to the quarterback. That's what the defense.
Inside out. Protecting the inside out.
The defensive linemen, they are tricky. They always want the straight line to the quarterback. If you make them go outside, you make them go the long way.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Excellent.
Good stuff.
Excellent. Good. You hated it if a defensive tackle came from the inside.
Absolutely. Yeah, got to block him. All right, we'll be back with more of the show right after this. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone, to Burton Ernie Talk Football with Fauria. We're talking about the Buffalo Bills now because that's who the Patriots have to face. And Buffalo is weak in stopping the run. Were you surprised that Ramondre Stevenson started the game as the Patriots' #1 running back last week against Carolina, and they gave him the ball in the first play?
Not really. It's telling the player, hey, we're going to work with you in practice. You're going to get better at it. We believe in you. Let's go.
I thought it was a great statement. I thought it was symbolic of everything that the entire offense was going through. And not that they were ignoring it, but it was like, hey, let's make a statement right here, right now, with one of the guys that has the most issues holding on to the football. Mm-hmm. And we're going to show everybody that we believe in you by giving you the ball first. I thought that was an important gesture.
And it's not just we believe in you and it's a gesture. I wasn't in practice last week. I don't know what they did. I guarantee you they did extra work on it so that you've got a problem, you've got to fix. You've got a good player. You don't just you put the ball on the ground. Now if you keep putting it on, eventually,
right.
But in this case, work with the player, try to help him improve, get this stuff fixed. Like we talked about Kevin Falk. Same thing.
Yeah.
The last 5 years of his career, no fumbles. There was a point in the career where I used to think, oh, we're giving it to fumbling Kevin. I mean, I love Kevin, but those were
Hall of Fame Kevin now.
Yeah, Hall of Fame Kevin.
Red jacket Kevin.
Red jacket Kevin.
Right, but that's where we were.
Okay, let me ask you this. They have to run the football. And one of the reasons why they have to run the football is to keep the other quarterback, Josh Allen, off the field, correct?
Well, it's keep him off the field. When you can run the football, you control the tempo of the game. You can, great coach Sid Gilman said, you run the control of the tempo of the game, you throw to ring the cash register. If you can run it, you control the clock, the whole thing. It's a very different game when you can run the football.
Yeah, I think it's got to be part of their game plan because Josh Allen can walk around for 3 quarters looking like Clark Kent. Next thing you know, the fourth quarter comes around and he's Superman. That's the type of power he has. And I would say the Buffalo Bills are probably saying, yeah, it's about time we have some of that power. You guys had a guy who was Superman named Tom Brady, and we had to deal with that for years. Now they have their own guy. But I think the difference in this, it's odd because the Patriots do a great job of stopping the run. And James Cook, running back for the Buffalo Bills, is having a great year. Over 100 yards running in every single game. They paid him a bunch of money in the offseason. He's paying dividends for them. So a challenge on both sides. The Patriots defense stopping their running game and vice versa.
And, it's not just, okay, we're going to run the ball. Well, you come right at the mix in your play action. You've got to have a mix. You've got to be balanced.
I like Diggs. I like Diggs getting open. Diggs knows how to get open.
Hey, well, like we talked the first day. So what does Josh McDaniels like to do in the passing game? He likes to throw to the receivers who are open. I mean,
simple.
Let's not
don't
overcomplicate things.
Right. So the favorite receiver is the guy that's open.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
And you can you can't. Hey, I've got a slot on the left. You can't be worried. Well, who's this guy? Hey, if it's a slot receiver on the left, he's on the team. He's running the slant. He's open. You throw him the ball.
All right. Good stuff as usual. That will do it for this week's edition of Burton Ernie Talk Football with Fauria. Don't forget, join us every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock right here on TV 38. You can also find us on our streaming on CBS News Boston and on our YouTube channel as well. I'm Steve Burton for Christopher Fauria and Ernie Adams. Have a great week, everybody.